Hi, Ying. Hey, Exa.
Hello.
Good morning, Exa. How are you today?
Good, and you?
If I was having any more fun, they'd have to make me twins.
All
Turn
right.
turn on your camera.
I can't. I don't know what's going on.
Loose nut behind the controls, I think.
Okay, more people are coming. I'm gonna mute myself. Good seeing you.
Hey, Amber.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Nice bookshelf look behind you, by the way.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Looks very good.
It took me all of 5 seconds to put up.
So that's not your real background?
No,
Oh, lovely.
you thought it was real? It looks real?
It looks that good, yeah. Hey, Gladys. And Vera's with us today. Ms. Vera Davidenko. So we've got a
Hey,
couple
I'm
of things
here,
to
yeah.
talk about today. Hi, Vera.
Hello.
And we have a new agent with us today. She's connecting to audio right now. But Ms. Ying Gill, she is an associate of Naomi and Rich Maston. And she's joined us, or is joining us. So she's coming on for her first meeting today. And we have Tim Mahan clocking in today. Hopefully he made it back from being out and about. I'm going to call him now. But he was out offshore fishing this morning. And Amanda Berdrich has joined us. Wow, that's interesting. Hey, Tim, we're online. I sent you the link. Hopefully you're back and you're going to join us. Talk to you soon. Bye. So, Ying, you have to connect to audio. Ying, can you hear us? Because we can either see you or hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, Conti, we see you and hear you 4x4.
Great. Can you see behind me? I got the tank.
Yeah, I saw that you got your new fish tank. Looks like you got
Yeah.
some mollies and some different kinds of fish. That looks nice.
Yeah, I got some molly, some angel, and guppy.
Yeah, beautiful. Trying to get everybody connected here. Let's see. All right, Gladys, Vera, Ying. So I have a speaker scheduled, but he is among the missing right now. He was going offshore to go fishing this morning. I hope they didn't have any boat problems. But I've got something else that I wanted to share with you anyhow. So Ying, can you hear us now?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Excellent. Yes, we can hear you, but
I
we
think
do not
it's
see you.
okay to deal with this coffee machine, and alas, here I am.
All right. Well, Miss Ying has been an agent for a while. She's joined us, as I mentioned, and she had an operation on Thursday, so she's sort of getting ready to get real with us. But she's joined us for her first go around with our Tuesday meeting. And Shane's getting on with us, and Vera's here, Exa, Ying, Conti. So we've got 8 in the house right now. Morning, Shane. And Samantha Valiz is joining us. That makes us up to 9.
Good morning, John. Good
Morning,
morning,
buddy.
everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, Sammy. By the way, Sam, I'm really starting to warm up to your Instagram title there, Sold by Sammy or Sold with Sammy.
Yes.
Liking that.
I didn't hear the question.
No, I just said I'm starting to see your Instagram name up there, and it's starting to look things. And when it says, what does it say? Sold with Sammy? Or sold by Sammy?
Yeah.
Sold with.
Sold with Sammy. There was another sold by Sammy, so I had to
Yeah, I
switch
like
it
the
up.
sold with because it tells the whole story.
Yeah.
So I think that's good branding. And it fits in with your, living with Sammy and all that other stuff that you do. So great. So we've got a good group this morning. We have a speaker that was promised to be here, but he is right now a no-show. But I had a couple of things I wanted to do. So let's start with this. First of all, everybody that's now here, we have a new agent with us today, Ms. Ying Gill. And so she's going to be joining our team. So she's sitting in on her first meeting. And,
Welcome, Yang.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Here.
So our style, Ying, is, my style is I like to be interrupted. So if you have any questions or I don't make myself clear, there's a number of ways.
John,
you
what'd you say?
interrupt.
John, what'd you say?
I'm sorry, I don't like to be interrupted. That's Shane just busting. But no, just if you have any questions, you have any comments, just bop in anytime. If you raise your hand, I'll stop if I see you. Even if you scratch your head sometimes, I think you're asking a question, so I'll stop. But anybody, let's start off with anybody what do you got? What do you need? Anybody moving any inventory that they want to put on the table? We've got Gladys here with us today. Gladys is one of our more experienced agents, but she's also one of our smartest because she's always looking to learn.
I have a question.
Yes, who's that?
Aixa.
Aixa, go ahead, Aixa.
It's a very rookie question, okay? Don't
Okay.
laugh at me. All right, so this is for rental properties in Miami, Brickell, Edgewater, Midtown area. So I figure that everything that you see on the MLS, it shows available, but rarely it is. It's like, oh, it's under contract. I forgot to update the MLS or whatever. But I already lost 3 people due to the fact that a friend or somebody just walk into one of the buildings that they are not on the MLS. They're like the newest towers or things like that. And they get hooked there and they rent directly. So is there any list or anything? How do you access all those places that are super new and amazing? And probably you get a lower commission or whatever, but at least you can show them as well. So how that works.
I can help you with that because I deal with that a lot, especially.
Go ahead.
So what I kind of found that works, and still it's not 100% like foolproof because I don't have them sign. I haven't yet had them sign like the rental agreement. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
but
That's a good place to start, but please continue.
just kind of look as if, and it's hard right now because people are desperate, so they're not really like being loyal at all, of course.
Exactly. They're like 24 hours looking for places. You
Yeah.
only do it 23.
What helped me, and also is start looking like if you're looking for yourself. So they look on apartments.com and they look on they Google. So do the same thing. Like don't only like stick to the MLS.
Mhm.
Look as if you were looking for yourself. Like where are you gonna look everywhere, right? And like start building that kind of database. Like I have a list that I've kind of just come up with by myself, and I'll call them up and be like, do you work with realtors? So obviously I'll try to push them first to
Mhm.
the ones that work with realtors because some of them don't. And right now they're kind of not feeling like they need to. So some people that were working with realtors, they're like, oh, we're not, giving referral fees right now. And
Mhm.
so I just started building the list because of the same reason. It isn't really organized or on a spreadsheet or anything. It's literally on this little notebook. But yeah, then you'll know. And like right away, you can give them that option. And it's easy for you because you just kind of refer them out and you can make you know, 500 to $1,000, and some of them pay half a
Mhm.
month. But you have to look just like they're looking, and also tell them, like, let them know, because I lost them because of that too. Sometimes I'm like, listen, if you walk into an apartment, you know, and you like the service I'm giving you, showing you around, like, please mention that you have a realtor. That way I can get a referral fee, and just be straight up with them, because sometimes they don't know.
Yeah.
And going along with what Sam said, and Shane, pop in anytime, but going along with what Sam said, give them a business card as well. Okay, so that they can then show that business card, but also tell the clients that, listen, it's not going to cost you any more to have me represent you. Okay, so it's the same price for rent for you, whether you say that I'm representing you or you don't.
Mhm.
So
Same
please
goes
show
for
them that
sales,
business
too.
card. Go ahead. We're talking about rentals, but go ahead, Shane.
Well, I'm saying same goes for sales. It's about
Okay,
setting expectations with your clients, you know, like even tell your clients that are searching for homes, if it's a sale right now, like on the buy side, even if you run into a for sale by owner, don't worry about it. Just give me the name and the number and I'll reach out and I'll dig into it for you. You know,
Mhm.
make sure that people still facilitate through you as best you can. Even on the rental side, you know, if you register your clients, if you call around and just like start registering your client at, you know, in the area that they're looking for at some of these corporate rental buildings,
Mhm.
you could potentially get that, you know, that commission. And like Sam said, sometimes they're not as much, but you might still get 500 to $1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And get the name of the person that you talked to when you called in to register them too.
Mhm.
Good idea.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks.
All right, good answers to your questions, Exa?
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Great. And that's what
Thank you,
this is
Samantha.
about, you know. Together, we got a lot of brains, we got a lot of genius between us, you know. We might not know
Yeah.
everything, but together, we got everything covered. All right. So I
Yeah.
just heard from my spokesman, my speaker, and he's had a little bit of trouble, but he said he's going to be about 5 or 6 minutes, but that's okay, because I got a 14-minute thing I want to cover with you all anyhow. Any other questions or comments about what's going on in the market? What do you got? What do you need? Anything in general?
Cooper City, does anyone have a listing coming up in Cooper City or Davie? Please don't all answer at once.
Crickets.
The sound of crickets.
Fair enough.
All right. So right now, there's this dichotomy in the market. Okay. What's going on is that we as real estate agents know that the market's incredibly tight, prices are going through the ceiling, and it's a very hot market. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think, well, you know, I'll just wait until prices come down, like in 2008. Now, we've been giving you a lot of materials because you don't want to just show them, you don't want to just tell them, okay? It's much more powerful to give them truth and then proof. So the things from Eisenhower that we've been putting out, those charts, the infographic, but let them know, you know, what a tight market it is, and that you can work to get them the best price. But waiting for prices to come down is a fool's game. But you need the techniques to get the urgency into their mind, because people have always, just when prices are high, I'll wait till they come down. But because we've only built 20% of the houses in the last decade that we built in any of the previous 6 decades, those prices aren't coming down, and we're seeing that. We're seeing prices going up dramatically. There's a great article that I'm going to send to everybody that I put up on our Facebook page about what's actually going on out in the market. But this is what we're going to look at right now while we're waiting for our speaker to come in. I was going to do it after the speaker, but I'll do it before now, is how scripts on how to pitch the urgency to people that are saying, I'm just going to wait. So if there are no questions, I'm going to go right to that. I'll go, any questions? 5, 4, 3, 2. Great. Here we go. You all can see that now, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
95% of homeowners can only have one primary residence home mortgage at a time, and no one's buying or selling on contingency. How the hell are all these sales happening? That's what I'd ask them. They're going to be like, I don't know. We got to motivate and educate them. So how do we do it? Here's how he explained it. We talk about how much housing prices go up every year, right? And I mean, it's been, on average, probably about 7% a year through here. Last year, it went up at about 9% a year. And this year, they projected 10%, but we're really seeing probably something closer to 15%, okay? If you put that in on average, let's just say 12%, okay? If you, just like it was back here, all the way back in 2005, we're probably going to at least be a 12% price increase this year. That means housing prices are going up 1% a year. You see what I'm saying? Housing prices are going up.
He meant 1% a month. If it goes up 12% a year, it's approximately 1% a month, not counting compounding.
1% a year. If you take it off the market for 60 days and the buyer doesn't perform, in theory, you could put it back up on at a price 2% higher. So if you have $1 million house, we could throw back on it, $1 million, what is that, $20,000 extra? Goes up $20,000 in 2 months. And we are seeing that type of appreciation everywhere in the country. And that is why a lot of people are going to start doing it. And I want to segue into one that I know you guys want to ask that none of you do, because using that script, right, talking about home price appreciation, about how prices are going up about 1% a month nationally. And heck, most of you guys are in Southern California. It's faster than that where you live. I mean, you're red hot. So that's got to come off your tongue. The prices are going up about 1% a month. So people that are waiting 2 and 3 months or waiting for kids to get out of school, I mean, that's great. Boys, that just look at the price range they're looking at and do the math. It's really freaking expensive to be lackadaisical. I mean, apathy does not pay right now. Like, you should be devastated if you miss out on an offer, right? Because if you wait 30 days, you're paying an extra 10 grand just right out of your wallet. So there needs to be pressure. They need to be motivated like that. They need to have that sense of urgency. They need that, because if they don't, they're not going to have the courage to go after aggressively with claws and teeth to get the home that they want when it hits the market. They have to be that aggressive. They have to have that confidence. Because if they're sitting around waiting for their dream house and they wait 2 years, God, they end up paying extra $100,000. I'd much rather them get their house that they really like right now and get a bunch of equity and make a ton of money off it, and then move into their dream house later. But don't sit on the sidelines right now. You got to have money in the game, right? And that the segue is that I want to make here is to one of the biggest problems we're having is the idea of actually using that as a listing script, right? Because one of the most difficult listing scripts we've got right now is dealing with clients who do not want to list their home for sale until they find the home they want to buy. And if you've got someone like that, you have a huge problem. My first advice would be to call somebody else to help them if you cannot help them, because somehow you're not getting through to them this message. Do you realize that? Because that's ridiculous. No one does that. Let me give you an example. So what you're saying is you're going to wait to find the home that you want to buy, and you're going to buy it on a freaking contingency? Seriously? Does anyone find that laughable here? I mean, that's crazy. How about we go, let's wait until we buy let's find a unicorn first. That's what we'll do. We'll go searching for a freaking unicorn, and after we find the unicorn, we'll saddle it, ride it, maybe go look for a freaking leprechaun, and then we'll put in an offer with your contingency and get that accepted.
I just had that conversation with the client too, and I said, well, if you don't find anything, maybe you can rent for a few months, but it's a good time to do this if you can't find the home that you want, or find someone you can live with for a little bit while you're looking for a house, but this is a good time.
Absolutely.
Sell your mediocre property. If you're in a mediocre property right now, this is the time to sell it, make the most you will ever make on it, and get into that property that you've been wanting for the last 5 years.
Right. That's right. So how do we do it? If you've got someone that's making this catastrophic error because they're stuck right now, right? They're absolutely stuck. We know that no one's doing this. Like, no one is, how many contingent offers are happening in your market right now? What is that? Less than 0.00001% of sales are contingent right now. I mean, it's probably the lowest amount of contingent offers ever. This is the market when there's, I mean, we just talked about FHA offers not getting accepted.
We let
I mean,
them know
that's like-
right off the bat that just to not waste their time with contingencies. Do we let them know right off the bat?
Well, I think we set the listing appointment and we get in the listing appointment and we talk about it there. And then it's time to educate, right? And we have to explain to them that no one is going to accept a contingent offer right now. And then you just put them in and you explain why, right? So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna explain why. We're gonna say, now imagine if we put your house up for sale here and you get 30 offers, which you will get, and one of them is contingent. That would be the first one we're gonna move to the side because now we have to sell their house too. And we don't even get to control what price we list it for or whether we accept any of those offers. So we're totally at their mercy and we're off the market while home prices are going up, completely tied to them. That is why no agent or seller on this planet would ever advise accepting your contingent offer, okay? So if we're talking that you have to sell your house before you buy another one, I mean, if you just need to buy and you can keep this house, it's fine, but I assume we wouldn't have this objection, right? So I'm assuming we asked that question first. Can you have two mortgages at once, okay? Like if they say no, I've got to sell this before I buy next one, then you know, we get into this conversation because we can't have contingent offers. And then I explain to them that over 95% of homeowners can't have two mortgages either. They have to sell their existing home before they buy their new home. So if no contingent offers are happening and you yourself wouldn't have a contingent offer, yet 95% of homeowners can only have one primary residence home mortgage at a time, and no one's buying or selling on contingency, how the hell are all these sales happening? That's what I'd ask them. They're going to be like, I don't know. How are all these other people doing it? Well, let me tell you how they're doing it. And it's how you're going to freaking do it too. And now you're being a consultant. You're explaining to people how to get it done. See, half of you on this call right now are not going to admit it, but you don't know either. You don't know how to do it. That's why you're stuck with listing people that don't. So we got to fix them, free them, educate them. We got to motivate and educate them. So how do we do it? Here's how we explain it. There's quite a few ways to get it done. It is very easy and it's how everyone's doing it. Number one, we put your house up for sale, okay? So we list your house, we sign the contract today, I start marketing it inside my enormous office because I'm allowed to market coming soons to people in my office. So we're going to start to find that buyer right away. We're going to get photography done, stagers done. We're going to, get it all ready and put up on all our websites and our MLSs and all the magical interwebs. And that takes time. All the while, you're going to be looking for houses as I'm getting it ready to list. And I'm going to put it live on the multiple listing service. Thousands of agents are going to see it. They're going to start looking at it online. They're going to start to show it. We're going to start to get offers. All the while, you're looking for houses. Now, pretty soon, offers will come in. By this time, 75% of the word our means the collective realtor industry, 75% of our clients have found a replacement property by this period. So in all likelihood, you're just going to find the house. Guys, do you know why that is? It's because the first time they really had pressure to look. So they started looking. They think they can't find something, but they haven't been looking. They've had no pressure. So they just check an email every now and then as it comes, if they're even on a listing email. So they act like they can't find one, but they haven't really looked. You make them start looking because of time constraints, they look and they find it. And that's the way it works. Especially if you've used all of our listing techniques, showing them how house prices are going up, supply and demand's out of whack. You show them all that, they get extremely motivated. If you start showing them our graphics, right, that we keep showing you over and over again, right? If we show them how home prices always go up, and if that great recession, big scary recession of 3 years where prices dipped about 10 freaking percent, maybe 20 for about 3 years, and it came all the way back, and it's just been skyrocketing ever since. If we show them that graphic, if we show them the home price appreciation graphic that I showed last time, these should all be staples, right?
Again, I want to encourage each and every one of you. It's all about truth and proof. You just can't say it. You got to show it to them. And when you show it to them, it's like the whole world is agreeing with you and they see the facts. By the way, our speaker is here. So as soon as we're finished with Brian, which is only a few minutes from now, then we'll start with Tim. Okay. But again, this is an urgency pitch. You've got to put urgency in their mind.
Shown these to you a gazillion times. If you show them that, they realize when's the best time to buy on that chart? Now. If they wait 6 months, or even like Felicia said, if they want to rent for 3 months, well, that's going to cost you 1% a month in home prices. So that's expensive too. They get motivated, they buy now. So 75% buy before we even get offers. That's plan A. And that's what's likely going to happen because that's what we, the royal we, that's what we experience. Don't ever speak in I's. You can be more powerful if you speak in we's and ours. Because we are a team. We are cooperating agents that cooperate with each other through a multiple listing service. Make sense? So we find that 75% sell then. Now, don't worry. Okay? Don't worry, because at this point, even if we haven't found our house, we can actually, as another option, list our house with a seller contingency, right? So we can actually, most states have this, California certainly does, where you can actually make the sale of your existing property contingent upon you finding a replacement property. Did you guys all?
Okay, would like everybody to just make a note so that you remember that. Buying with a contingency doesn't happen in this market. Selling with a contingency, because it's a seller's market, you have the leverage. So you can get that.
Know that? There is a form. So in other words, if you can't find a replacement property, you don't have to sell your existing house. And guess what? No buyer on this planet is going to care, because right now you have a house for sale, which is close to the same worth as having a blood diamond. You know, they will scratch and claw and kill for your blood diamond. They will certainly accept a seller contingency. I'm yet to hear someone that won't accept that. And if they don't, get rid of that offer. Look at the next offer, because you got 30 of them.
Yeah, my buyer did that recently, and the people already had a home, but it hadn't closed yet, but they moved forward with it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That was after like 6 offers on other homes. So
that's right. That'll do it. Yeah. Blood diamonds. That's what we're selling, blood diamonds. So it makes it very easy to sell them because everybody will make every concession to get the deal done. Thank you, Felicia. Yeah, that's exactly right. So you'll have nobody that has any problem with that. So that's what I explained next. So if you don't find one, you're not going to be living under a freeway overpass homeless. I mean, you can just stay in your house. So that's plan B. And if for some reason that doesn't work, I don't know why that wouldn't work, but let's say that doesn't work, we can always ask for an extended closing period. Guess what? You're the seller. You're in a much different social class than buyers. Like in the feudal system, you're royalty and they're peasants. So they are going to do whatever royalty says. And if royalties, because you're the seller, you call the shots. If royalty says, hey, to accept your offer, Mr. Buyer, you freaking peasant, you better give me 90 days to close, or whatever, sir, sire, you know.
There was a piece on CBS Sunday Morning that a lady sold her house and she got 3 months rent free as part of the deal. And the sellers were happy to do it because they wanted her house and there aren't many around. So as the seller, you're the royalty.
No problem. Okay? So that's a medieval reference. So please don't take that as some sort of like social thing. I'm talking about Arthur and Knights of the Round Table there. Feudal system. Okay. So there's nothing, yeah. So that's just going off of weird medieval history. So, so that is that. Knights of the Round Table. So that's plan B or C. Okay. Plan D is you can rent it back. You can stay in it and pay rent to the seller if they close. There are so many different ways to skin this cat. You will not be living homeless. That's what they're really afraid of, is living homeless. So we have seller contingencies. We can extend closing periods. We can lease back. And guess what? You're the seller, so the world's your oyster. It's whatever you say. My wish is your command. It's not a problem because you're the seller. The buyer's going to say yes, yes, yes to anything you say to get that offer under contract. That's why it's never been a better time to sell. Even if you don't know, of course you don't know what house you're going to buy. If you saw your dream house right now, it's going to have 30 offers on it. If it doesn't have 30 offers on it, something's wrong with it and you don't want it anyway. That's why everybody knows you must list first, then buy in a red hot seller's market. Don't be a freaking moron. Don't say that last part, but you got it. That's how I want you to pound it home. Like, it is matter of fact, because you have to be that confident with it. You know I'm right. There aren't people running around writing contingent offers right. So they're all doing it this way. They're sticking their neck out a little bit, but it's not even really out. Not when we have seller contingencies. Not when we have lease backs. Not when we have extended close periods. But the last thing we want to do is be a kid in a candy store when the candy store is locked, which means, oh, wow, I'm going to put a contingent offer on a property with my house not even on the market. And I see my dream house that I've been waiting to come up for sale for years. And now I'm the kid in the candy store banging on the window, and it's Sunday morning and it's closed because no one's going to even let me in the door because I don't even have my house on the market yet. Crazy.
Okay, and we do have our speaker with us. I want to say a couple of things about this. Shane, if you're still around, feel free to clock in with it. But guys, this is what I'm going through right now. We're thinking about selling our house, which we've owned since '92. And my wife's like, how are we going to buy one? This is the deal, okay? But when you pitch this to your clients, you need to pitch this at 100% certainty. Because if you're presenting this to your clients and you act like you've got a cold about it, they're going to act like they got pneumonia about it. You've got to go all in with a total belief that what Brian just gave you is true. And it is. And truth is a very stubborn thing, especially in this market. Any questions before we introduce the speaker? Comments on that? No, Shane, are you still with us? What are you seeing out in the market? Because I know you're moving. I saw a couple more sales for you, that you're moving lots of inventory, probably, and even on the phone doing it while we're going on with this right now.
I'm going to talk about Shane's offers. So yeah, we are getting like 30 offers a day for new properties, and we're only looking at non-contingent offers, like preferably with people willing to pay above appraisal price.
Yep. Yep. If you're thinking of coming in under, if you're thinking of coming in under the price, good luck. And just for those of you that haven't met Vera yet, Vera is just a knockdown, great admin. She's got a lot of experience here and in New York, and she helps run Shane's team and his sales and everything. So please continue, Vera.
I mean, I'm sure all the other agents see the same thing. We just see it more because we represent the seller on 100% of the deals. Actually, Shane does have buyers that are looking. That's why he asked about coming up properties. They're submitting offers and the same thing, you know, like we see the same thing. It's sellers are getting all cash offers above asking. We cannot get them to buy anything. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah, yeah. Because people just don't understand the market today. They think it's like everything else. It was hurt by COVID. Not the case. All right. So Tim, we've got Tim Mahan here. Tim, do you have a camera to turn on? Can you hear us? And can you unmute, Tim?
Unmute. Got it.
All right, great. All right, so couple of the agents, there he is. Oh, still on his boat. Good look.
Sorry about that. I had a time snafu. Okay, go ahead.
Not a problem. So how was the red snapper fishing today?
We limited in about 3 minutes. It's only 2 per person. So yeah, we got there about 10 minutes before sunrise, and we had 4 on the boat by 7 minutes before sunrise.
Great. All right. Just to introduce you guys, and Shane knows Tim.
I like the big guy. I like the big guy.
Yeah. Tim is a construction. Shane was saying, what's up, Tim? I was talking over him.
What's up, big guy?
So Tim has been a construction guy basically all his life. He got very sophisticated with a computer. I call him the Xactimate Whisperer. But Tim has an experience in construction, but also in insurance cases. And he works for a lot of lawyers right now. He's working for Morgan & Morgan, which happens to be the largest largest law firm in the world. And Tim has hooked us up so that next week, next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow, we have a speaker coming in from Morgan & Morgan that's going to talk about insurance in our general situation and insurance claims. But some of the team, Amber and Sam and a couple of others, have asked to have somebody that's kind of an expert on insurance to kind of give them. So what we'll do is if you have any questions, we can start, Tim, with those. And then I'm going to ask Tim, after we cover your questions, to talk a little bit about insurance claims, what's going on in the market, and how that might affect, A, the way you're looking at a house, or B, if you're dealing with a customer that wants to sell but has had some insurance issues. So Amber, I'll throw it over to you. Do you have any questions for Tim?
Hi, Tim. Thanks for your time.
Sure.
I would say just in general is, as being a new agent, I do hear that a lot of homeowners are either having an issue getting insured or are actually being dropped by their insurance company. I have a little bit of understanding from it. I think it has to do with claims and all that stuff, but I would like, so sorry. And if somebody's having issues getting insurance, like what is their other steps that they can do?
Okay, so number one, it's against the law. Now, first off, let me say I'm not a lawyer and I'm not practicing law without a license. I'm gonna put about 20 disclaimers on everything I say. But in the state of Florida, an insurer can deny issuing you insurance for a lot of reasons, but not because you made a claim. Now, there is an insurer called Citizens, which is the insurer of last resort. And a homeowner should be able to get Citizens if they can get nothing else, but it's much more expensive. And Citizens is the only one that's not subjected to bad faith if they treat you poorly in the claim process. And therefore, Citizens treats everybody poorly because they're not subjected to penalties.
Does that answer your question, Amber, that if they're having issues, they can't get turned down, like Tim said, just because they made a claim? But the insurance companies are very wily and they'll find ways. But you do have Citizens in reserve. It's going to be a little more expensive, but they'll get the insurance.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, so Citizens is a state-sponsored insurer of last resort in the state of Florida. And if nothing else, they should be able to be insured by Citizens for wind, fire, all what they call all apparel, which is everything but flood.
Okay.
Are you driving a boat right now?
Seriously, yes.
Love it.
I had a timeline snafu. I thought I had till 1 o'clock my time when I had till 11 o'clock my time, but go ahead. I'm ready for hit it. What you got?
My question is regarding, so right now there's lots of people buying their first investment properties out there, these multifamilies, they're, the duplexes, the triplexes, and then they are, using them for short-term rentals like Airbnb. Some people are doing it legitimately and some people are not. How does that work insurance-wise? Like, because I didn't even know, I'm learning all this too. I'm a newer agent. I didn't know you needed a specific license, like Airbnb license, I guess. And the insurance is way higher. Is it like a big difference, or how do they go about that process getting insurance if they just bought the property and don't really know what they're going to use it for, or haven't really gone through their whole process of licensing?
Okay, so I'd like to say that, like, on a question like that, I'm not really well versed. I could get someone like an agent probably to answer that question at another one of John's meetings. I'm not really well versed on that. I know that, I know a lot of people that own a lot of property that have that property insured, and I've been in on claims, but as far as like the Airbnb and the difference in coverages and stuff like that, I'm sorry, I really can't answer that question. I don't know the answer.
I know that Matt and Shane have a couple Airbnbs. Do you deal with those, Vera? Because I see that Shane's not on the line. He probably got called into a deal.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, maybe I don't know if, you know, we currently have 2 Airbnbs, but I'm not doing anything differently with regards to my insurance to otherwise run that. I think we take out like just like a slip and fall additional liability. That's relatively inexpensive, you know, but we have standard homeowners insurance on the property. And then like, just like an additional liability as if like, you know, just like at the office, if someone were to come to the office and slip and fall or something like that, we've got like a you know, liability for that. So people staying at the home, guests coming through, you know, that kind of thing. If something happens, we've got coverage for that.
Okay. Okay, because it was just like, I don't know, it was one conversation I had with someone that said, oh, and the insurance for that is way higher if you're doing, you know, vacation rentals. So that kind of, it was literally a conversation I just had a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, you're likely correct that, you know, if there's any way people are going to try to make money, they're going to make money. So if they're going to try to categorize vacation rentals as a higher premium for insurance, it's likely something that, you know, is an available product out there. You know, I'm just stating that you know, I'm just a small fish, right? So I've got 2 rentals, you know, I'm not at the point where I'm worried about, you know, getting short-term or vacation, you know, specific vacation rental insurance for that. But if I was purchasing, you know, 10 to 12 doors, you know, and everything was going to be, you know, I'm managing it as an Airbnb, you know, apartment rental complex, then yes, there's definitely, there's I would imagine there's a coverage specific to that. But we have to get, you know, Jared's the guy, John, to bring back into this. Jared Mansell, you know, he was Access Insurance agent. He'd be able to answer that question for you, Sam.
Okay, thank you.
And I've made a note, Sam, and I will look that up. But you do, Airbnb does provide up to $1 million in insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can do what Jane said, but I will, I'll get a more detailed answer to that question for you. But yeah, host protection insurance, Airbnb has the liability for every Airbnb host.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you can Google that too, but I'll reach out and get some more information on that. All right. And Tim was very wise to, you know, one of the things I like about Tim is he knows what he knows, but he won't tell you what he won't act like he doesn't know something. And that's one of the things I tell all, especially new agents, when you're first dealing with clients, look them right in the eye and say, listen, you know, I've been through great training programs and I know a lot, but I know one thing the most, and that's that I don't know everything. So if you ask me a question I don't know, I'm going to look you right straight in the eye and say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know where to find the answer because I work with some great managers and I'll do the research and get that answer for you. Fair enough? And when you shake hands, you've just proven to them in their minds that you're not a liar. Okay, so that's Tim, and there's his lady right behind him, Faley. She landed a red snapper on Facebook the other day. She had 750 views.
784, bro.
784 now. It's still going up. All right. Any other questions for Tim while he's here? Obviously, he's multitasking.
Yeah, but I love this. So, yeah, go ahead. What you got?
Anybody? Okay.
Tim, you want to explain real quick, you know, there's a lot of things that happen, you know, to a home for homeowners that they don't even realize that they could potentially, you know, get a claim on. You want to just kind of run through maybe like the top, you know, 5 or 6 items that you could easily get a claim done on?
Yeah, so that's great. That's great stuff. So like down in your market, down in South Florida, like almost every house down there that has a stone tile roof, concrete tile roof, has a claim. They all have what they call chatter because of all the storms. So basically they all have what's called a pre-existing condition, and pre-existing conditions are excluded. But of course, they're supposed to inspect your property before you issue your policy, but that doesn't stop them from hiding behind an exclusion for a pre-existing condition. I can tell you that I work with some great engineers and they walk property every day, all day long. And we talk about this a lot. Whereas you know, you buy that house, it's a ton of money, and that roof, those roofs go off at about $1,500 to $2,000 a square. Squares are 10 by 10 sections. So, you know, a 3,000 square foot house is going to probably have about a 39 to 4,200 square foot roof at $1,500 a square. And if it's a pre-existing condition, you're paying your premium, then you have damage to your house, and the insurance goes, well, we'll pay for the interior damage. We're not going to pay for the roof because it's got a pre-existing condition. That's something I warn people about a lot, because I think that's bogus. That's bullshit. I think it's a scam, but yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, the average home inspector is not going to pick up on that. Those home inspectors, they sign off on a lot of stuff that they just don't pick up on stuff like that. But the carrier brings out an adjuster and an engineer. Well, the only reason they brought the engineer was to deny the claim. And that adjuster is just kind of like lip service, but what the engineer says goes. And like a buddy of mine likes to say, the engineer usually favors who's paying them. So,
well, how
you know,
does a
that's my-
homeowner, how does a homeowner protect themselves from something like that?
You definitely want to get a qualified roofer that does tile roofs for a living. And this is where we get into the catch-22, because all the homeowners think that an inspection should be for free. Well, somebody's paying somebody to look at that roof. But if you're going to put that kind of money down on a house, you better make sure that that roof is insurable. Or I heard what y'all said about not getting a discount or a sub offer. But you know, the thing is, if you're paying, you know, $3,000, $4,000 a year for insurance, and then all of a sudden you got a claim, and they say, yeah, that's great, you got a claim, but we're not going to pay for it. Which, you know, they always say that anyhow, but you just don't want to give them any wiggle room with a pre-existing condition.
So you're
So how you know, when you say pre-existing condition, you know, an inspector can come out, says the roof is in good order, it's got another, you know, 10, 15 years of useful life. There's
Yeah,
no
so that's-
cracked tiles, you know,
Yeah, see,
everything looks in shape.
Even
You know?
even if it's got 10 or 15 years of usable life yet, that's an insurable roof. So,
Yeah.
you know, even if it has no years, if it's a 20-year shingle that's 21 years old, if the insurance company issued an RCV policy, they have to pay for new shingles. Now, what they can do is depreciate until you replace them. But a pre-existing condition would be like, what was the last storm y'all had down there, Shane?
I mean, the names.
It started with an
Great.
I.
So once, you know, the prescription period in the state of Florida is 3 years.
Yeah.
So once you, and again, I'm not a public adjuster. I don't interpret policy. I'm not a lawyer. I don't practice law. But you have X amount of time to make a claim. And I'm pretty sure in Florida it's 3 years. Once that time is up, you're not allowed to make a claim. Or if you buy the house and you didn't own it during the storm, you're not covered. And you know, that would be a pre-existing condition where the roof was damaged prior to your purchase or prior to you making a claim, and the carrier rightfully so can deny it based on the fact that it was damaged before they insured it.
So are you saying then, Tim, that someone should get their own inspector to inspect that?
I would highly suggest you get somebody qualified for the particular type of roof system that you have. You know, because these home inspectors, they might be licensed and insured, but their contracts have so many outs, you're not going to go back and get them if they miss anything. It's not going to work.
Sorry, just like a very basic question, because I'm like in my head, I'm like, stone tile roof. Is this Spanish tile roof like the ones we see a lot in Florida, like the ones that are supposedly long lasting and have a long life, or what is this? What does this look like? Should I just Google it?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of different, you know, don't get hung up on profiles. You got terracotta, you got all these different colors, and then you got profiles like, you know, like I don't know, clamshell or clamshell, whatever. It's the actual makeup of the tile. You got two different kinds. You got clay tile, which is much more expensive than concrete tile and a lot less durable. And then you have concrete tile that appears like clay tile, but it's more durable. But depending on when it was installed and how it's installed, they tend to what we call chatter, which is like if you had some cards on a table and somebody shut a door and all the cards fluttered. That's what chatter is. And when they chatter, it loosens the fasteners. Even if there's no tile missing, it could have chatter on it, which would be a pre-existing condition.
So you've got to
I
have.
can tell you almost every house that I've looked at in South Florida that doesn't have a new roof has a claim if you could find a date of loss. And if they can't prove that it was damaged before the date of loss, almost every house has a claim. Those concrete tile roofs weren't installed. If they were installed, you know, over 5 or 6 years ago, they weren't installed to a wind rating that's acceptable today, or would stand up to, even like Sally. Our storm Sally was a category 1, but it devastated a lot of properties because of the duration of the wind. So those concrete tile roofs that only have 1 nail per tile, which is very normal for some that were installed up to 5 years ago, they're not very wind rated at all. And just so you'll understand, you know, everything installed in Florida now has to have a Florida a Florida acceptance code for the application, which an engineer has to do. No concrete tile has an acceptance code without an engineer writing it off, or basically designing the negative uplift. So the code has gotten very tight. So if you do have a claim, you know, it's a great opportunity to not only retrofit your roof, but bring it up to the new code, which is much more stringent than even 5 years ago. And a lot of those houses, a lot of those roofs down there are a lot older than 5 years old, but they're still covered. You know, the homeowner doesn't understand that, but they're still covered as long as you have a date of loss, you know, that works.
Can you explain that? What's date of loss?
Basically, when you make an insurance claim, you have to give them a date that the damage was done to the property. So
Okay.
we get crazy windstorms without hurricanes attached to the name. And by the way, the deductible on a regular storm is much, much lower than the deductible on a hurricane. So, you know, up here, April of last year, we had some tornadoes in Milton, but we also had a lot of wind damage. That was before Sally. And a lot of people made claims, fortunately, before Sally, so they did not have to pay the 2, 3, 4, 5% deductible, which could really add up. You got $200,000 insurance with 3%, that's a $6,000 deductible, where your non-name storm deductible is usually anywhere between like $500 and $1,500. So the date of the storm, the date of loss is very important.
So for example, we had a big storm yesterday in Davie that knocked off some roofs, pulled a porch off, had some significant damage. Those folks are better off because it was a regular storm, not a named storm, meaning a hurricane.
Oh, much better off, especially, you know, if they were to make a claim today versus making a claim when you get if you get a hurricane this year, much better off.
Right, right. All right, any other questions? We're coming up to our 1 hour and I'd like to keep this under an hour. So any other questions for Tim while we have him on his boat?
I have just information about roofers.
Uh-huh.
This is Ying.
Yeah.
My friend needed, it was one of the storms, she made a claim with an insurance company and she was denied. And she got quotes from roofers, and one roofer has a lawyer on that works with them, and they made her sign something, but basically if they work with the lawyer and the insurance company and receive money, she would pay the insurance company and the roofer would get the job, basically.
Okay, so first off, let me guess, is the name of the roofing company Apex?
I don't know, but it was a little strange because she had some other damages, and the
Okay,
roofer.
so let me tell you what they got her to sign. They got her to sign what's called an AOB. And I tell everybody, don't sign an AOB, because if you sign an AOB, you no longer have first count of your money. You're giving
Yeah,
the
that's
roofer would be an assignment of benefits.
some for the attic and some and other stuff, and they said they would find her a contractor to take care of all her issues. They wouldn't give her back her money.
Exactly
So
right.
she-
Exactly right. Because you no longer have first count when you sign an AOB. And even
Right.
though last year the Florida legislature took a lot of the badness out of AOBs, we still have bad actors. And basically, you know, they're going to take all of her money, probably make her pay her deductible, put a
I
roof
think
on there with substandard material. Might be good workmanship, but probably not like a certainteed or a good shingle, a really good shingle, depending on what the material is. But when you sign an AOB, it's like, you know, go ahead and just take my money and do what you want with it because I'm no longer in control of my money. To me, that makes no sense.
she wound up giving them 25% to get them of what the claim was to get out of, because what she got was $120,000 for
Jesus.
the thing.
Wow.
And she gave them. But
So let
they
me
want-
guess, the attorney got 33% plus expenses.
Yeah, yeah. So
And the roofer got the rest. And then she
It was
didn't get her
120.
interior repairs. She didn't get her interior repairs replaced, and the roofer won't call her back.
what she did is she signed something and she gave him 25% and she took the rest, and then she got her own roofer to take the roof. And
Okay,
she's
okay, that's good. That means she did not sign an AOB, because if she did, the check would have came with the roofer's name on it, not hers.
It was the roofer and the attorney and her name on it.
Then she did sign an AOB, and then she also
Yeah.
authorized the attorney to be on the check. So look, that's like kind of getting the chicken to watch the hen house. And this is the
I'm
way I
just saying
talk.
out there,
this
that's
is-
all.
This is the way I talk to people about attorneys. Okay, so you might want. Okay, here's what I'd say. If you could get a Corvette and a Volkswagen for the same price, which one do you want? All attorneys charge the same, the 33% plus expenses. I wouldn't get the one that works with the guy that's the roofer. I'd get the one that's probably the very best in the state of Florida at doing what they're doing, and they're also very efficient in getting them done in a timely manner. So,
Right, agree
know,
with you. So why would you get a
Yeah, I
lawyer
would-
for the roofer?
Right, right. Because, you know, you can Google up first party claims and find some of the greatest lawyers in Florida. And if you can't find them, just ask John. I'll point you in the right direction. You know, there's four ways to fight a claim. And right now, honestly, appraisal's the fastest, but an attorney is the most effective right now. And I hate to say it, but a public adjuster, they used to pay for PAs, but I haven't seen PAs been able to do much in the state of Florida, especially around here after Sally. So, you know, a lot of times you'll have to get an attorney. I recommend everybody get the book called Delay, Deny, Defend. It was written by a guy named Tim Fay, I believe his last name, Fay or Fry or something like that. But it's basically the insurance company's policy is to delay, deny, and defend. So they delay as long as possible, deny as much as possible, and defend up to the last minute. But what I always tell people is, you know, what's the chance of them finding 12 favorable jurors in the state of Florida? Not very good. You know, most people have been screwed over by their homeowners insurance. All the storms that we have, most people are very familiar with the process.
Tim, I love the information that you gave about, you know, the stone tiles for the roofing and stuff. Is there any other common material that we might come across on the older houses that you kind of just look and you're like, oh, that's going to be a problem?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm gonna tell you right now, we did one down there on a stucco house. A public adjuster came down there and asked me to write an Xactimate estimate on a house. I got down there and looked at the house. I said, look, man, you're wasting your time. You're not gonna collect a penny on this. He's like, what do you mean? I said, it's all pre-existing. This house, people from New York bought it for $450. And they moved in, their kids started getting sick, and the doctor said, well, they're just acclimating to the Florida climate. Well, turned out it was mold, like the bad stuff, like stacky boxes. So they ended up having to move out of the house. They had to rent a house, and they make an insurance claim. Of course, it takes years for plywood to rot. So the insurance company said, well, we're not covering it. Then they call, you know, the selling agent and the inspector. They're not on the hook. You know, miraculously, the guy that did put it in appraisal, he actually won for them, which I can't believe. He got him $300,000. I know it's true. He got the money. I just can't believe he got it. I can't believe that any insurance company would have paid it, but he got him on like a technicality. So stucco houses are, to me, are suspect at best, because, you know, for a while they were using something called Dens glass, and Dens glass isn't waterproof, and they weren't putting any kind of water barrier behind the Dens glass. But even if you put plywood up and stucco synthetic, it's not waterproof. And then real stucco is concrete, which isn't waterproof. So stucco houses scare the crap out of me.
All right, good. Guys, we're at 1:03. We'll take another question or two, but I try to be very judicious with your time for the hour. So is there, and if anybody has to go, we understand.
Hey, John, let me touch on one thing real quick that I really
Sure.
like, okay? Okay, so again, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not practicing law without a license, but I was involved in a claim in Houston several years ago, and it was a 900-unit apartment complex bought by a lawyer after Hurricane Ike. And the only reason he bought it was for the insurance claim. He ended up getting $6 million because he got the property with a reservation of rights. So, you know, when you're out there and you see some opportunities, you know, make sure, one, that you can actually get it done. But if a homeowner can buy a property with, I'm gonna call it a pre-existing condition, but they get a reservation of rights and it's legal and it can be done, then the buyer can actually go after the seller's insurance company with the proper horsepower and get compensated. It took that guy a couple of years, and I'm sure he spent a lot out of pocket, but he ended up getting a whole lot of money off that apartment complex.
What is reservation of rights?
And that's what I was about to say because of the timeline. I'll let Tim explain it, but there's two things I'm going to ask everybody to Google, and that's the reservation of rights, okay? And then Google that delay, deny, and defend book, because that might be something that would be good for you to have. Go ahead, Tim. Reservation of rights.
Reservation of rights just means that, you know, you're allowed, if there's a recovery on the insurance, it doesn't belong to the seller, it belongs to the buyer. That's putting it in super layman's terms, okay?
So, and a reservation of rights, for example, if I were to sell my house now and I've got an insurance claim on my roof, that I could sell my house, but I could reserve the insurance for myself and sell the house as is. Okay.
Interesting.
Any other questions for Tim? We've gone a little over, but it's been very good information.
Has.
Anybody? No? Okay. We had a good show today. We had, 11 people. Shane popped in. Vera's been helpful. We appreciate that. Tim, thank you very much for, taking some time off the boat and to talk with us. Appreciate that. Anybody has any questions like that, let me know. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Ying, we want to thank you very much for joining us today. I'll get that information out to you. And we do this every Wednesday at noon. Before we go, is there anything that you'd like to have covered in the next couple of weeks? I have my curriculum that I'm aimed at, but I'd like to keep it flexible for what you all want and need.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, any information, just because it's just sparked my own curiosity and like areas that I'm looking in for people, but definitely any more information I can get on some of these smaller residential income properties and how everything works with them and how to go about getting the financials and providing that information back to potential buyers, investors would be helpful. Okay. So someone that owns, or maybe when I know you said Shane owns a couple property, like whoever, like I'm it's so interesting to me and I'm like really wanting to learn more.
So kind of like an Airbnb, VRBO kind of.
Just any sort of income producing property and like how I mean, I'm learning a little bit just through clients themselves, but I'd love to be,
okay.
Someone to lead them in the process. So.
All right, good. I've got that note. Amber, I heard your voice.
No, it was
no.
me.
Oh, it was Asa. My apologies.
That's
Asa,
okay. I was going to ask something similar as Samantha was asking, because I have people coming from Argentina and they're like running away from there and they have some money here and they're always asking for the same thing. And I'm not educated in that aspect. So yeah, that would be great.
Okay. And if you have clients like that, that's something to be in touch with Vera and Shane, because Shane has this great relationship that he's really worked over the years with a corporate seller. It's a hedge fund. And so he gets properties that come out. So if you've got clients that, you can give a heads up to Vera, she can let you know when something pops up, you could get in there, being sort of first in, best dressed. It has to go out to the public, but we can sort of point you in the right direction with that.
Perfect.
But on the, just a quick note on the income producing side, there's different buckets that investors are looking to capitalize on. You've got traditional, just, yearly leases. So you're buying and holding and renting. You've got flips where people are buying, renovating, and then selling short-term thereafter. And now you've got also Airbnb, where there's more of a short-term, rental, where you're managing it more versus just having a yearly tenant. But all of this just comes down to what investors are really looking to make on their money. So if someone's traditionally looking to buy and hold and earn an income, then you have to figure out what's their capitalization rate, otherwise known as cap rate. What do they want to make on their money? So if they invest, for argument's sake, $100,000, they want a 12% return on their money, right? So that, that's how you get to the nitty gritty of what price points, what do the rent rates look like? There's a simple spreadsheet that I can potentially go over with you girls, to kind of plug and play some of the stuff when you're looking for, that kind of investment strategy, when it's a buy and hold. And then when it's a flip, that's a different scenario, right? That's a different way of analyzing it. You really have to have a good fix on construction costs and cost of money and time frame. And really the money's made on the purchase. You really have to make sure you're buying it right. Otherwise you can never make up for it. But that's just a quick synopsis. Feel free to reach out.
Definitely have a lot more questions on that. I've been just seeing people's failures, seeing people trying to flip something too quickly, or they bought it too much. I have to sell it at this price, but they're not getting that price. I'm seeing so much, and I'm taking it all in. So that's why I'm I really want to get a hold on it. And also some of the smaller buildings don't provide, they don't have a system, a structure with their financials. So they're just kind of throwing numbers out there, and other buildings will have the bigger ones have a whole provide you with all the information, with the cap rate, with how much they're charging for rents. So it's a lot of information, but I want to learn a little bit more.
Well, that's how you get powerful. That's how you get powerful, Sam. Knowledge, they used to say knowledge is power. Well, we're swimming in knowledge now.
Yeah.
Organized and intelligently presented knowledge, that's power. And that's what Shane's talking about. And you and Shane should get together and discuss that, because he's got a lot of knowledge, and you're an up and comer, and you, fortunately for you, you've got Matt and Shane and I on your team.
Yes.
To put a fine point on it. So we're at 111. We've gone over. I'll take any last question, because there's been some good questions, but any last questions, I want to be very, very efficient with the use of your time. By the way, we videotape these classes, then I edit them and I put them up on our Facebook, on my YouTube channel, which is the Real Estate Coaching Dude YouTube channel, Real Estate Coaching Dude. And it's in the Tuesday sessions, and we go back several weeks, so you can go back and review any of these materials. And we do the same thing with the Wednesday sessions, but strangely enough, they end up in the Wednesday folder, not the Tuesday folder.
Oh, I have a question, John, about the coaching part. You mentioned last week and the week before about the upcoming Eisenhower training.
Yes.
When are we going to be able to start with that?
Okay, they're creating that curriculum. So hopefully next Tuesday, you want to be here, because we'll have somebody from Eisenhower to sign you all in to the onboarding, so that you'll have complete access to the Eisenhower platform and all of those coaching materials and then I'll be able to see the work that you're doing and make comments as well. So hopefully we'll have that next Tuesday.
Wonderful.
All right. Anything else? Great. All right. Great class. Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you, Shane. And thanks everybody that's still here with us. I want to wish you guys a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow at noon.
See ya.
You, bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a productive week, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Constantly look at that sign. What are you going to do today to grow your business? What are you going to do today to grow your business? Over and out. Hey, Shane, thanks for popping in. Really appreciate the help, man. Vera, also appreciate you attending that. That was helpful too. Over and out.